It's a fireside chat, y'all.
Welcome back to another Fireside Chat, where we bring casual technology conversations to you. With us, I've got solutions expert extraordinaire, Chris Marshall. Hey, welcome back.
Hey Sean, pleased to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So we're talking, what are we talking? Cloud analytics today, and a little bit about cloud analytics is kind of a broad term, but SD-WAN, what we've talked a lot about SD-WAN, but also just the analytics and visibility that you're now able to get in some of these cloud managed solutions. So what are your thoughts?
Right, yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be a fireside chat with Chris without talking some SD-WAN, but I guess there's been a couple of exciting kind of additions. So, we talked before about SD-WAN and the cloud management. Obviously, Meraki has always been there with their cloud management, not so much a control plane. So there's been two additions to those product lines. Meraki just released Meraki Insights, which is some additional telemetry that some of that reporting they're going to give you, and along with that, the viptela solution, they've just released a new product called vAnalytics. So there's a little bit of overlap between the two, but both interesting. Really, both kind of highlighting just the power of having that sort of that cloud central telemetry that all of our equipment, we're sucking this data in, and now what do we do with that information? We've always had the ability to look at real-time or weekly stats on a particular link, but now it's kind of aggregating all that information and obviously hopefully giving us some powerful reports. To me, when we talk about analytics, what that really means is taking that information and forecasting, giving us some kind of or reacting to that information. What if scenarios? Can I plug into this tool and say, hey, if I add additional bandwidth, if I add this application, what will the result of that be? Or maybe even give us suggestions on some of our policies. If you enact this policy, that's going to improve performance for this application.
So kind of bringing BI to a little bit of BI, a little bit of forecasting into a traditional network. Is that what you're saying?
And not just from your environment as well. I mean, obviously, leveraging all of the customers, so cross-customer information. So, for example, with the viptela and their vAnalytics solution, although I should say now called Cisco SD-WAN.
Right, good call from video number 1, by the way.
Thanks very much. But so this product is a bolt-on. So vManage is our management platform. vAnalytics is a SaaS solution, so it is completely cloud-based. You can't run this on-prem. It's an additional license charge. But what we get with that is we look at not just our information, so service providers across your whole region. We can look at other customers and actually say, hey, this service provider is, it can make recommendations on the best service provider for a particular site, or make recommendations on policies and very powerful, very exciting.
So that's really leveled up the whole game, really. I mean, in terms of what was traditional monitoring or visibility, it's also adding a layer of predictive analysis as well as recommendations.
I think it's that kind of, we've always had this information, it's now just pulling it all together, and then obviously if the tool can then spit out, we look at trends and we can actually forecast. I mean, that's really the key word for me, is that, basically, a report is generated and we can, ahead of the game, proactively, obviously make changes before being reactive to issues in the environment. And and again, if you're opening up a new site, that you can go to this tool and it can say, hey, these are the best providers, this is what you should be looking at for connectivity, you'll get the best performance. So it's very powerful, rather than, traditionally we've had to kind of suck it and see. You kind of go out there, you buy it and it doesn't work and you move around. But now, this gives you a little bit more, actually a lot more visibility in what's available in your area and who's performing the best.
Right. And I mean, I think that's the whole premise of SD-WAN, was to give you some, not only better usage of the bandwidth, but also, as you bring in more connections, leveraging them all at the same time, and then being application aware. This is kind of adding another layer to that. So
and actually, I mean, that's the bit. So now, it's great. We can always, distribute our connections and our policies across multiple providers. But now it's even telling us, hey, these are the providers you should be using. And even going further than that, looking into the application layer, looking at these SaaS applications like Office 365, Salesforce. Showing us what the best exit point or what the best internet connection is to get to that. So we can monitor those applications across all of our sites. And it may well be that, branch A over here in San Diego has a score of 7, let's say, and then in Denver we have a score of 10. It's actually more efficient to go to Denver and out to Office 365 rather than going directly from San Diego.
Nice.
So
in that it'll make a selection like that real time?
exactly. So it's not just reporting on it, it's actually implementing that policy. Now you could say, hey, I wanted this to be manual and I'll implement it myself, but it's completely automated, much like I think of like VMware and DRS, when we started seeing those live migrations, this is enacting policy automatically for you. So taking information and then reacting to that information and implementing a change in your environment is very powerful, and it's very automated, and I guess we can all sit back and enjoy another cup of coffee.
That's it. So Meraki Insight, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, no, it's exciting. Today it's a bolt-on, obviously, so this is an additional license for that we add into our dashboard. Today it only works with the firewall, so that's the MX line. And basically what it does, it's looking at traffic flow, so particularly SaaS applications, so our Office 365, our Salesforce. Now, it can also look at custom applications, but generally the firewall in most of our deployments, we see that at the edge. Most people aren't deploying in the branch a kind of a core firewall. So the traffic that it's obviously getting visibility to is those cloud SaaS applications. And what it's basically doing is looking at taking statistics from those TCP flows, particularly HTTP, HTTPS, round trip time, latency, drop packets, and it's taking that information via a secure channel, pushing those up to our dashboard, and then reporting on giving each of those applications a score, but not just per application, actually per client. So the use case for this is, client rings the help desk, says, my Outlook is very slow, Office 365. Very quickly, we can look at the dashboard and say, this particular client, and get stats on their particular connection. Now, if this is happening for multiple clients in the same site, obviously, there we narrow down our troubleshooting. We're looking at the WAN. If it's just this one client, well, then obviously, and other clients are accessing the same cloud application, then obviously we can focus our attention on the actual end user device.
Well, Office 365, that's a really good example because we see that a lot where a customer will make the migration from on-premise Exchange to Office 365. And now all the communication from the client to the server is through the internet. Whereas before it was all staying local to the LAN. So it does put some additional load on their internet connection. And we've seen that customers move to Office 365 and they have email performance issues. And so where they may need more bandwidth or they could potentially get a second internet connection. There's options, client caching, all of that. But this provides another layer of visibility to be able to dissect what is actually going on. Is it an internet issue or is it a client issue? So
absolutely. knowledge is power, right?
Yeah.
So, again, we're monitoring these applications from all of our sites. Straight away we can see, hey, is this site specific or is this across our whole organization? Then then obviously we're looking at the cloud provider and saying, hey, there's a problem on their end. But as far as troubleshooting, really cuts down the time. Is it a client issue? Is it the LAN side? Is it local to this site? Is it a certain internet connection, or is it on the provider's side in the cloud?
Okay, and I got one more question. I'm going to throw you kind of a curveball. So if you were comparing Viptela, now Cisco, Meraki, now Cisco, both of those SD-WAN solutions, do you have like a top 2, 3 differences between the two? Like if I was a customer and I'm looking at these things, why I would pick one or the other? Yeah,
I guess, so Meraki is really, you're buying into that whole solution. It's not just WAN, it's not just firewalls, it's the switching, it's the wireless, it's the cameras, it's the phones. If you already have a Meraki solution, then obviously it makes a lot of sense. And you're looking at SD-WAN, well, obviously you should look at the Meraki offering. The limiting factor is going to be the number of WAN connections. Today it's just 2. It's very automated, like the Meraki Auto VPN. So as far as architectures, topology, if you have specific requirements, then obviously you're looking for more the enterprise, which would be the Cisco SD-WAN, formerly the Viptela solution.
Okay.
But there is, as far as, it's interesting you say that. There's some overlap there. We just talked about Meraki Insight. That functionality of monitoring cloud applications, SaaS applications, there's a similar analytics tool within the Viptela or Cisco SD-WAN solution, which is actually called Cloud On-Ramp for SaaS, which again gives us scores on our SaaS applications, The difference here is it can actually enact on those, or sorry, respond to those scores and direct traffic out via another branch, where Meraki is, at this point, it's just reporting and we have to manually make a change.
Well, awesome. Well, thanks for being here.
Oh, always, yeah, anytime.
Awesome. Well, there you have it. SD-WAN is just getting better in providing more BI capabilities, more analytics, and also a little bit of recommendation consulting services as a service. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, email us at firesidechat@lookingpoint.com. Thanks for watching.
It's a fireside chat, y'all.